Welcome back to GlobeTrotting. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Typically, I examine the future of specific manufacturers each year, normally at the beginning, looking at some of the more short to medium term focuses as we enter that new calendar year. In the case of Boeing, 2024 has been a challenge, probably an understatement, and I don't need to say it twice. As a result, I'd argue that they've changed their focus quite a lot, and we've also increased our own focus into them as a manufacturer, and a lot has happened. But what does the future look like as we scarily approach the midway point of this decade? One of the more recent decisions involved Boeing reassigning its engineers away from the X-66 program to address its substantial backlog of aircraft deliveries that have been plaguing it. This move came after much deliberation and highlighted the company's challenges really in balancing its immediate operational needs with the X-66A, which focuses more on long-term innovation. The backlog for its commercial airplanes division has really strained Boeing's resources and now is forcing them to deviate attention away from these future plans to focus on delivering aircraft to customers and maintaining a cash flow and high customer satisfaction levels, things that have both dropped considerably of late and need rectifying. NASA's offer to deploy its own engineers to the X-66 program certainly appears to underscore the importance of this, which at its very core aims to develop sustainable aviation technologies for the future through the transonic brushed wing design. NASA's intervention ensures that the program remains on track despite Boeing's current resource constraints. However, this situation reveals deeper issues within Boeing. Whatever the following aircraft is, they know they cannot, under any circumstances, lose more ground to competitor Airbus. But focusing on that future when they have so many issues in the present is a very big challenge. Boeing's short to medium term plan will also focus on navigating challenges in certifying aircraft, such as the popular 777X and remaining MAX variants. These planes are fantastic in their own right, with excellent specifications and efficiency levels for customers that will eventually fly it. But unfortunately, their story has primarily been filled with negativity. Therefore, getting these planes in the sky with airlines, but arguably more importantly, doing so without persistent issues cropping up once they're in the air, would be a massive moment for the manufacturer. And while many people would argue this should be the standard, the reality is it hasn't been. So to move to yes, what some may consider the bare minimum, is still an improvement. While incremental progress is being made on the certification of these aforementioned types, the journey is complex, with ongoing adjustments to meet regulatory requirements thanks to the increased oversight. That has not just come because of the MAX incidents in the late 2010s, but more specifically, the fresh quality concerns that have emerged in 2024. On to airlines who have publicly voiced their frustrations over delays in acquiring their aircraft, highlighting things such as operational and financial hurt. The belief that all aircraft will arrive on time, especially for ones yet to be certified, is something that always is frowned upon, and it's not uncommon for new aircraft to be delayed when they enter service. In fact, it would be a miracle if they arrive on time. Just like whether you're building a home or building a road, there's always a form of delay. However, the delays related to these aircraft and the certification program have directly impacted fleet planning, operational growth, and so much more at your airline customers. In worst cases, this has put further pressure on Boeing, as these respective airlines have sought compensation for their losses. And in an even worse case, this is done on a public scale, with Boeing's reputation being thrown further into the gutter, and Airbus just basically peeping over the back fence, winking at the said frustrated customer. Looking ahead, certifying these aircraft is crucial for the future of Boeing. Not only will it allow them to fulfill their backlog and attempt to restore confidence among their customers, but it is an essential step in continuing to try and compete with Airbus and restoring itself to not just the largest manufacturer in the world, which would be its end goal, but you'd also think as a respected one. Boeing hopes these planes are launched without significant issues once they enter service, and as I touched on at the beginning of this segment, that would be absolutely huge for the plane maker. But the focus on the future is a bit tough. Clearing the aircraft delivery backlog and certifying new models will often divert attention away from projects like that X-66A. This balancing act can strain resources, and it makes it challenging for both future and current demands to be met. Boeing has to be measured, and we know its employees are already under a lot of pressure to deal with the stress of not just meeting current targets, but because of all the related internal issues. The company has been thrown on its head of late. Looking ahead, another part of the future at the American manufacturer is restoring the trust in many. This will be the furthest thing from an overnight job. And I think it'd be pretty easy to find someone that may argue it's too far gone for this generation ever to trust Boeing again, as they've failed repeatedly and repeatedly. But that doesn't mean the company can't try. In fact, it's something they need to do. After so many failed attempts, with now more oversight than ever, after so many failed attempts to right its wrongs, and now with more oversight than ever, and hundreds of millions of dollars being spent into overhauling its safety practices and becoming more transparent, it must enjoy a sustained period without persistent niggles impacting programs and more. This does seem like a challenge, primarily because of its track record, which has been far from positive, but it has to be considered as the only way forward. The damage has absolutely been done, and what has happened in the past is something that can't be undone. But looking into the future, they have to take the proper steps to ensure that they're well positioned to one day have restored the trust of the vast majority, and be up there once more, competing with Airbus, something it hasn't done in the 2020s at all. Other short-term focuses is Boeing will continue to work on the integration of Spirit Aerosystems as it looks to clean up its supply chains. This being a major focus of our industry in the last couple of years that has played a role in the delays. It is a harsh space, and ultimately the supply chains and delays I speak of aren't just related to Boeing. Airbus is feeling the pressures, same even at Embraer. Our beloved aircraft manufacturers and so many other companies in other sectors right around the world, thanks to tensions, conflict, labour shortages, inflation and other related pressures, have been unable to keep up with rates that they would like, in production or other avenue. And in the case of our manufacturers, they've struggled to get planes off on time. And while this hurts every plane maker in a little bit of a different way, they do ultimately trickle down and hurt airline customers who are loyal to the said manufacturer. When considering Boeing's future, well, there's a lot to unpack. And the reality is, things change with every month. Focus can very easily shift. But some core underlying issues remain at the front and will be in their short to medium term focus. I'd like to ask you, though, what do you believe Boeing needs to focus in on across, say, the next 6 to 12 months? Is it restoring the trust in customers? Is it progressing with aircraft deliveries or aircraft certification? Maybe it is also something that went unmentioned, the search for a new chief executive officer and other executive level members. Let me know down below in the comments. Thanks a lot for your support here on the channel. Do take care, do be safe, and I'll see you in a couple of days for further aviation analysis.
And we'll fly.